Is it the same tree?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Now, where do you plug this in? Question. Are you just like coaching now, bro?
I got bullied out of this shit.
Wait, Sterling, are you recording or am I recording?
Yeah, I recorded it for you.
Oh. Okay. Well, I look kind of got track of time. No, it's still.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still true.
Okay, that's it.
That's so.
I'm not sure you want to do that.
Just get it off.
Give me a sec.
The PTSD from that Kaiser.
Not that.
What happened?
Oh, I picked my favorite ring.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. Give me a sec. Oh, we can't come out. Who's it?
Yeah.
In 1850. Oh, sorry. 10 minutes start.
Wait, did you start? You didn't start a new chain, right?
No, it was the one with.
Is it?
No, it's different. It's the same app.
Cool. Because it's weird that I have this certain option. That's fine.
In 1858, Abraham Lincoln, Stephen A. Douglas engaged in 7 debates regarding the morality of slavery, the principles of democracy, and interpretation of the Constitution. However, their discussion diverted from political and economic consequences of abolition instead focusing on philosophical ontological justification. They view policy on its atomized actions, but manifestation of ideologies. Political actions are undergirded in theoretical assumptions. Only critical examination of ontologies could better policy-making structures. Peters 20. Ontology is internally basic of ocean governance, after imperial research and form of ontological questions, drive what we know, and do governance practice of ontologically, how ocean resources life and managed, ontology shape, policy, literature, predominantly scientific, lacuna, and critical discussions, and equal power relations, exclusion, necessary that policy brave, ontology is inherently theoretical, science is not without theory, based on ideas, regarding hypothesizing future scenarios, no general ontological assumptions to identify limitation knowledge and to grade management. Only the after better policy political structures. All educational perfect models debate is not real world because policies reflect ideologies. Lead 23. Party focus on philosophical thinking around policy, integrating philosophy with science, intellectual clarification of policy, heuristic relevance that would lead to philosophical approach. Practitioners of the resemblance and refined decisions reflect ideological processes without intellectually involved implementation, convolve, compromise, and co-applied science, theory, philosophy, philosophical method, address principles, resolution, ask ontological question, qualities of improve, justify both reality and theory, the progress into principles rather than only action. Link thus may have enclosed in favor in the paper involved to be enclosed in favor of policy political discussions. The norm is consummation fetish, the consummation is potency, resolve, poverty, extinction, to train skills have been used for political change, and to be the epitome of fairness. However, these tall prompts only result in no resolution materializing after decades. If rate of impacts are repeated after talk when they claim to have resolved already by voting for a plan F, a limit that excludes and predictability that fair polices and fairness that demonizes. Debate is only educational with argumentative inclusion, any policing and generous violence, and upholds imperialist governmentality. Stats 19. But over debate to be reflective, values students of color demonized, excluded, manifest to change social composition, bridge norms debate, to demonize inspire activism. Only if cognizant of biopower, debate offers the obvious and equal and silencing away from neutral fear of radicalism, refuse to adapt who don't fit ideals that feeling views other rejecting styles, exposed ontology under US policy making framework for students to conform mirror, automated follow be destroyed, to be reduced to brutality through VR sweep on the road, cause the plan plays on reality, film with simulation, carries few ramifications, and the evil hip hop personal experience, to check technology and discord, Baltimore beautiful struggles, non-normative approaches, purely produce individuals who adapt realities and policies, backlash, in fairness, ground, imperial, critical argument, demand debate, critique debate, until allow different methodologies and have marginalized the U.S. routes to self-imperial civilization, fear ideas, exclusion, preventing hostility for progress, or to that for justice, counter perspectives, and jurisprudence must be conceptualized to prove legal structures and avoid structural flaws. 11. Or three things in jurisprudence said to govern the form of governance, law, constitution, society, the creation of human declaration of independence, theories that America had incorporated into the Constitution, defining relationship within society, legal rules that control any change to society to translate into actual change. Necessary to first change law, idea of law, contents of society constitutes law, dominant cultures provide theoretical foundation for homosphere, premise to be false, believe that services infinite resources, contingent humanitarian worldview, decisions made by politicians, lawyers, bureaucrats, and intentional old paradigm. The norm has drawn rigid removal mountain on the waters debate and deemed only for practical usage. Any other discussion must happen outside of this exclusive epistemic zone or in the form that a zone accepts. See favors of like inclusivity that simulates philosophical discussion in a political manner without actually engage with the theoretical content. Simulated policy search that debate allows for its own logic themes only philosophical discussion is alien to the affirmative, must only exist in relation to pre-established political positions, constantly territorialize the sea of argumentation to show that political discussion or was fulfilled for closing any possibility of philosophy to engage with the space. They never want to hear us out engage our literature through a different method or defending their theory. Only seeks to exclude us and viewing fairness as an intrinsic good view ignores the productive process of that fairness. Policy fairness contrasted through the exclusion suppressive of other discussions, deeming them unworthy of consideration while justifying why their form of political knowledge is found in the first place. They need to consider why the products of their fairness is good. This convention contends that Lincoln's debate also reorients its form and contents in line with the ontology of relationality to adopt philosophical discussions. Below are philosophical reasons why the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea is problematic. Oceanic governance exercises territoriality to endless appropriate the global ocean for capital accumulation. The ecology of territorialization transplants its own logic of land that strategically demarcate and enclose the sea for exploitation. Peters 20. The area and unclosed ocean flora protecting DSM, frontier global capitalism, global economy, global corps, via global corps, tech, ontologies of being, drive governance, territorialization for border zones to control resources, produce the legal means for area two-dimensional surface map, review territorial philosophy, zones of jurisdiction, demarcated development at sea, land intelligent underlying discourse, akin to inclusion, ocean, and other domains to exploit donation, bringing rationality onto perform its own logic for contrary territoriality, statements, appropriation of global ocean through sovereignty, knowledge system, problematic ontological assumptions of what can exist. Mammoth landed planning two rationalistic, like critical reflection towards who's in and out, and options are assemblages to spread beyond single boundaries, instead of faciality, draws new voices. Specifically, unclosed views the ocean as only economic, nor social, cultural knowledge, regarding reproducing anti-indigenous violence that reduces reproduction of marine species in humans. Natona 20. How do market capitalists for me evolution top and inclusive reproduction main as impossible riches will growth participation dominated by managerial logic excluding local culture or growth limited must be nor non-economic oceanic relation importance of subsistence to no scientific positivism operates synergy non-close facilities proposition of marine space and of the ocean is a common jointly owned by all ownership not with the property or central capitalist models of ability to incorporate communities indigenous people and for all makers to understand enclosure sociological well-being undermined appropriation of indigenous knowledge must be recognized cannot be retraction transplanted knowledge holder must be integrated worshipping science is only acceptable of knowledge constructs of knowledge hierarchy best estimate and power symmetries, Western empires and weaponized ability to create new wars, justification, imperial, conception that seeks to civilize the other into this worldview until 20. Technological rationality, sense of knowledge, objective, obscure power, symmetries, vital understanding, intelligence, networks, rights, and knowledge hierarchy, the right from direct from the connection between people and oceans, certificate, marxization of scientific systems, superpower subjects, GIS, making words, mapping, simplify, short, it's easy to flow to account for the nature of water, driven by neoliberal intentionality, power boundaries, establish specific common rights, international law, which justifies civilizing, including expansion and only unclosed regime, sovereign rights, cultural sites of conceptualized, left out to place law, described and takes environment, skip the last card. Therefore, the alternative is reconfiguring oceanic governance and debate through relational ontology. Law must be involved through constant clashing ability of different ideologies and actions, only moving beyond legal positivism and cruise the leadership structures and resolve culturally violence. Hegemonic approaches must be rejected. Natona 20. Laws constitute social manifestation, contributes to inclusion, intellectual thinking, connection, perpetually clashing, ability, viewing political meaning, always under construction, etc. The marine states as common sociological system and truly constitutive, source simplicity and legal norms, theoretical physical word of its tradition, may find philosophy assumption about neutrality, self-contained, self-sustaining principles from the text, depth of cultural influence, and hydro pros and company must be from a multi-perspective space is created through a norm system relies on epistemological underpinnings.
Wait, what card did you just get?
The second to last one.
Second to last one? Yeah, cool. Sure. I don't have time, so can you just kind of...
Yeah.
Okay, cool. How exactly does reading the 1AC change people's mind?
We think that first, we don't need, the idea is not to change everybody's mind in this specific round. We think that the app is a should versus would question. If we should reconceptualize debate in this way, we should conceptualize the resolution this way, then you should vote affirmative.
Like, okay, I guess sure. I guess then, like, does it have any out-of-round impact? Or is it, like, what exactly is the purpose of reading the app?
The purpose of reading the app
Yeah.
to solve the exclusionary violence that the resolution holds.
Okay, sure. Does this have any out-of-round impact? I.e., is this like a question of how we should model the debate in the round, or is it like outside round?
It's a question of one, what kind of model of debate should we engage in, what kind of education should we pursue, and second, why the resolution is bad philosophically.
Okay, sure. I guess how exactly does the app do that then?
By offering an alternative approach and engage in philosophical discussions regarding the resolution
Okay.
that are previously excluded by the current model.
Okay, sure. I guess then what exactly is the current model that you're talking about?
That we only focus on discussions regarding policies. And it's specifically not even the policy and the policy making process, it's just a consequence of 5-second plan text, right? That's the current model.
Okay, that's fine.
It's the dominant norm, as we can say.
I guess sure, that's fine. I guess, like, why exactly is it bad for policymakers to only think about poverty and extinction?
Okay, that's not what we mean. We think that only focusing on atomized actions, like specific policy, whether this specific instance is good or bad, ignores the things that's structurally, problematic. Like,
what exactly is structurally problematic?
Like, for example, this affirmative, right? We're talking about there's the unclosed is rooted in a territorializing logic that requires the appropriation of space, that enclosed space for expropriation, exploitation of resources. You extract minerals and you use people, exploit people to extract these minerals. You don't care about how the land, how the ocean connects to specific populations living there and how this extraction affects them, right? These are all ideological issues with unclosed. You can't just even if you have specific instances of policies being good, that doesn't mean that the structures are good. That means even if you can solve something, right, like with this one policy that you don't really do in debate, like you just vote F and then voila, maybe something happens, probably doesn't, because fiat we saying that plans don't materialize, resolutions don't materialize. However, we think that debating about and learning about the structural issues of policy making structures are good and not good proposals.
That's okay. I'll send out the 1NC. It'll be, I think. That's fine. I'll send out the 1NC. The 1NC is Q case. Case is like top down.
Can I use the rest of these?
Yeah, I don't really care.
Thanks.
Okay, cool. Give me a sec. Okay. Can I borrow your timer? Thanks. Okay, cool. It's sent. Let me know when we're good. Okay, cool. Jason?
I'm trying to download. It's not received.
Okay, cool. Good. Okay, cool. T2 case top down, I think. Okay. First off is the T-USFG. To win the ballot, the affirmative must defend at least defend the implementation of a topical plan. 1. Resolve means enacted by law. Words and phrases 64. Resolve is enacted finance to establish by law. 2. United States refers to the federal government, not private entities. 8 could 10. Ordinary comment meaning U.S. Means federal government. Dictionaries are consistent with it. It is given or only fed, not a private entity. 3. To become means to be to come and be to be something and requires change. Merriam-Webster no date. To come to be to undergo change or development. 4. A party is a state where that is an international organization. Walker and Boyer 05. Party is a state which has consented to be bounded by an international instrument, and they don't do that. Often a counter definition of each word in their resolution, and their interpretation is arbitrary and unlimited at best. It relies on post hoc predictability and gives us nothing when they choose to say new or when preparing for a new topic. That's a voting issue for limits and granting is defending resolutional actions or actors. Green highlights hundreds of policy and critical affirmatives to the case list, and we cannot be prepared to defend any app which has anyone do anything. In fairness, expecting us to prepare against every possible affirmative that can be read under their models and possible fairness is matters since every aspect of this activity presumes fair evaluation, i.e. 1AR and 2AR appeals to the technical concessions demonstrated collected by it, and then all participants want to win, which is why they justifiably be angry if you voted app when you got the email. 2. Debates competitive incentive creates pressure for research and class, which generates more important skills and makes debate a training ground. The impact is successful movement in which requires skilled organization, strategic leadership, and institution. And 18. Building public will requires more than shifting opinion. Public will that translate into political power has been elusive. Less attention into actions translate into influence activism because power or at scale that collective action is the sum of its parts. The more people research simply having more activists is not sufficient to create sustained large scale change. Research should be research should move beyond messaging into strategic leadership that translates opinion in action into political power. This framework can focus research to generate collective action. Organizations can be instructive in showing why strategic leadership considers debate political support for regulations. Nonetheless, the NRA has been more effective in translating its resources into political power. Leaders undertake an international campaign to build an ardent constitutivity of owners. 3. Switching sides. It sells the 1 year's offense, but has external net benefits of predictability predictability, engaging justifications for ICC / also better allows students to dissect arguments from both sides, and their critique of the resolution demonstrates its negative and under our interpretation. Next one. Second is the mining dissent. They said this new frontier of global capitalism and that the blue economy is bad. Highlighted words in Peter's 20th. And this means the 1AC is at odds with seabed mining. Failing to ratify UNCLOS undermines access to essential resources for decarbonization and ensures environmental catastrophe by ratification and enables sustainable cooperation over mining. CFR 2024. The oceans are teeming with resources and UNCLOS the U.S. opted against not being a part of limit ability to shape regulations. Our one interest is pursuit of critical minerals, lithium, cobalt, and nickel lines seabeds is essential for solar panels, wind turbines, and EVs. These are crucial for clean energy solutions. It depends on UNCLOS. Companies can obtain licenses, require sponsorship from a member, creating dependence on competitors, and seek further control reliance, raises anxieties, limits ability to control energy future. Without accountability, becomes difficult to manage resources globally. Can have devastating environmental consequences. Membership in UNCLOS would give voice and reshaping responsibilities. Sustainable extraction policies could ensure the ocean's health. Steps towards decarbonization now are key to mitigate global warming. We're falling behind on climate goal now, but expanding low carbonization infrastructure which requires minerals is the vital missing piece. Carster 24. The window to 2030 target is closing, and getting the required immediate action would position well to reach net zero and keep warming below 2C. The power sector has a critical role to play in scaling up, quadrupling solar fleet, tripling its wind fleet by 2030. The U.S. is running out of time budget. The NZ shows no room for further emissions in any sector. Emissions must begin rapidly falling. In climate change is extinction fast and turns all other impact. Example 20. Climate change has impacted millions of deaths, increased disasters, unprecedented flow of climate refugee, heat pressure, medium treatment, use it sets off reaction that will cause civilization destruction of extinction. There is need for immediate action year by year. The outpour of GHG risk positive feedback demanding immediate action. The solution reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Whatever the common good, the solution is superior. It secures the ground. We will not have harmony where climate disaster will suffer and conflict will arise. Uncertainty is wrong. Delay is risky. Case. The F has something to do. It doesn't vote. If they don't vote egg on presumption, if they pivot on where impact turning framework, it proves their politics. They start the definition of reactionary. They're in debate section 00 often because his individual rights will not be remembered, but internalize his technical losses, especially since I have a terrible memory and can't even remember yesterday. Which means that desirably a content cannot actually change. Be inherently scholarship exists. There's nothing about the 1AC which has changed, and their authors already endorsed the ontological revision. Contestation means it's a wrong form. The fact that we have to find a way to disagree with them means we're more likely to internalize thoughts on the other side if they're right about the debate's transformative potential. Too cool. They played around with the doc formatting, but the resistance. His project is still limited to the scope of a one hour debate. We will drop some scholarly arguments, and they will explain to you why they have won their traditional risk calculus is by explaining why it outweighs ours, which provides they're still engaging forms of norms of debate. 3. Desire to incorporate excluded discussions. Read on next solves on Topicality is limited on form and concept. And 4. Discussions are stale and illusionary. Impact to turn on framework. 5. Interconnected to the world yet cannot be solved by your value, which means you should prefer our procedural impact. 6. Ontologies is equally solved by switching sides. Theoretical assumptions. This can be contested on the negative under our interpretations. And skills are not empty or useless but real. We control uniqueness question that research in political structures is important in the modern era, magnified by the election of Trump, which proves social movements and how are essential. Reject evidence from the people debate. Example is their shots evidence, especially when they coach K teams. The evidence on this right article helps to be used for cards. Which are given more weight than analytics. It's wrong. Individual debates do not change minds. People read arguments they disagree with them, demonstrated by the prevalence of ridiculous positions like Sparks and what skip to 12. They said legalisms that we're turning their argument pessimism after 23. He demands that sees the state as an instrument of contamination, but puts the actually, yeah, just skip that.
Get the timer.
Huh?
Get the timer across.
Yeah. Give me a sec. Let me get back real quick. Okay, cool.
So you skipped everything after 7, right?
Yeah.
So
No, actually, I read 8.
Oh, you're at 8.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. So first, how does the United States pass policies?
Like the United States itself, or like in debate?
Itself, like.
The United States comes together, weighs consequences, I guess, and then other.
Okay, what's the function of the executive branch? Can you just
like
explain it briefly?
Like each branch does something different. I can't tell you what each branch does specifically, but like they all three of them come together to decide on the policy. And then it goes through president decides.
Can you explain the difference between liberalism, realism, and IR?
Like what do you mean? Like just the.
Yeah, just explain. Like, what does realism say?
Realism. I guess realism, you're talking about what happens in the real world, in word.
Okay, that's fine. What is fairness?
To be fair.
What does that mean?
Each party has equal each debate or each person has equal ground.
Ground. So why is fairness not including these discussions that are not currently in debate?
Because you by reading this affirmative, you allow for infinite amount of asks.
It doesn't seem really fair to these discussions that want to be contested.
We say that specifically this app allows for an infinite amount of possibilities because your app isn't resolutional. I mean,
not resolutional. We have these 3 pieces of evidence that includes the words unclose.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean under the actual plain text, you're changing the wording of the resolution, meaning that everybody can change the wording of the resolution.
Oh, okay.
If you look at the hypothetical plan.
Sure. What shapes your subjectivity?
Huh?
What shapes your subjectivity?
What do you mean by that? I guess.
You're saying debate doesn't do anything.
We say debate doesn't have any out of round impact
so it doesn't change how people act in the real world, right?
It doesn't change how people think in the real world, not act.
Okay, so what changes how people think in the real world?
Research skills, that's a Han 18 evidence.
Okay, why is us researching about this app not part of that?
It's we say that it's good for the affirmative, but it's unfair for the negative, which goes back to the fair. We say research in general is the only portable skills, i.e. the affirmative does
we
do
have
research.
I spent at least 10 hours cutting this app. Why is that not? Did I not learn anything? Is that what you're saying?
No, we're saying I guess the way to frame it is basically sure you did research, but by doing research it's only beneficial for you, not everybody in the round. Everybody in the round has to have some equal form of research and ground, and the wording of the resolution is what allows us to do it. Changing the wording of the resolution in and of itself is inherently better.
If we prove that the app and our model can talk about the resolution, does that solve your problems?
No, because you have to prove that.
So we can only engage with the resolution in the form that you want it.
No, we don't say in the form. It's the form that it's given to us, because that's the only way to keep things fair. I guess the way the topic is provided is the only way.
Sure. I'll take that. The 4.
Yeah.
sent it.
I'll let you know when I get it.
Okay. The word is going to be case TDA.
Yeah, cool.
TDA.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
The affirmative is the reconceptualization of debate and the resolution to form a form of relationality in which we incorporate previously excluded discussions and view the ocean as something that shouldn't be enclosed and incorporate all the other excluded actions in this policymaking process that include all this in this policymaking process that we're making international law. They answer the idea that we don't do anything, we do something to the base space, and we move and then we change how we view the resolution. That means presumption is wrong. 1, the after should question if that should happen, then we should win. 2, hold us to their standards, plans that have to solve everything, so we don't have 2. 3, it tries to make sure the process non-event evidence of change is good, and perimeter proves actually needness. They're policing right on its remnant relationality, so necessary for debate. Existing literature is non-responsive because articles don't generally clash themselves. Debate starts actions, people struggles in Baltimore, former policy debaters, and still black activism due to their critical background, that's scats. And normally we uphold its treats to debate like speech times and like how what speech are we giving, but we disagree with the content of form discussion, which means that we don't uphold this impartial norm. We transform. You don't get any skills. You don't get any policy skills from debate. They literally can't answer simple questions like how the U.S. makes policy in this process. Proof they don't learn anything about making policies. Only we do of how changing why policies are made and policy making structures. Yes, cards from people in debate. They've actually parents in the space on how things are excluded. They just follow the same policy policing knowledge. It's like saying people. It's like saying don't listen to coolies talk about their struggles in America because they're more likely to swing the stories in their favor. Only reduces violence because it means that the people, the voice of the people who are oppressed doesn't matter. Policy debates are not good. 1, political convention, AP Gov's book, All Check Policy Education, which destroy the PRL. 2, philosophy protects policies. Ignoring structural flaws in policy making continues ontological problems. Only philosophical assertions solved at Peters. It was completely dropped because he did all 3 reasons why philosophy is illusory and completely bad. Only actually exclusionary. There's no educational value within policy debate, which means that they've already won the fact that the philosophy debates are better for everything overall. Framework. Counterinterpretation to the affirmative can either affirm or negate the philosophical underpinnings of resolutions. All the thesis of such debate, they can just be their F on the neg, give them more ground and prep. Class 12. F could approve resolution, incorrect terms are required negs to defend, and key competition, neg has to approve F rational, incorrect resolution, limit F ground, include topical action reasons why that is bad, eliminate and solving assessing treats to the res, leg, provide counter, proposal free F and defending and resolution, fundamentally disagree, increase education, allows policy, political, philosophical, critical issue, prefer 1, a hierarchy DA, policy issues and American knowledge hierarchy to produce colonial violence, deeming non-conformity discussion is useless and judgment for debate by justifying them, by civilizing them using frame as Sona 20, 2, ontology DA, their model actually precludes ontologies debates like liberalism versus Marxism, determine the best theory-based policy often to avoid choosing defense Peters 20. They can justify make policy under racism, filter teeth through a focus on the resolution means every argument about non-resolution apps does not link. 4, suicide debate proves our is predictable. No reason why reading this chaos and app is bad. The suicide debate precludes policy discussion that we need to discuss a policy on both sides because they have conceded that only political discussions are good, which means that we should discuss a policy every single time and on every single side. App is best with side, they're going to use app on the neg, which creates resolutional class. We're limiting limits. Every uncle's landed on this topic is positivist. They can research philosophical reasons why the rest is good when that's against us, which minimizes prep burden because there's always less philosophies than policies to provide from them. There can be 5 apps on the realism and how between different impacts of Russia and China and Iran war, but there's only one offensive realism. Education always limits, even expand the resolution a little bit. Simple app because education when the expansion is necessary. There's no limits offense because the interpretation is limited by the resolution. Yes, go out, read the app on the neg, another method all creates good philosophical debates. We can just read generics and read the philosophy of those generics against the affirmative. We can show you need some fairness because debate is already procedurally skewed in favor of policy debates. Only voting app rectifies. They have to win education and win fairness. They just sacrifice philosophical discussion and policy fairness. Remember explain why that's good in the first place. They have to consider the process of education of their fairness and what that creates. They have to justify why their model of fairness is better. Classify all the reasons why policy debates are bad on here, and the TVA proves that literature is predictable. They can't solve our ontology office because one ACs always resort to contrived offs like states of federalism avoid clash anyways, and cross-apply hierarchy DA. TVA only allows for certain forms of knowledge with police policy education with philosophical match, and the ballot is key for the affirmative. 1, bringing incentivize more people to join our model. 2, the ballot is inevitable, may as well vote for after education. 3, try or that current ontologies is inevitably violent, under unclosed, only a risk that the affirmative can't solve. Onto mining. Because the ontology comes first, which means that they can only engage in the app on the philosophical level. It means that DA don't link. Extinction doesn't outweigh them, say anything what that matters. Reject 2 new on frame is too late, living in debates are bad. No 2 AR has no time to respond. Explanation would outweigh. The only impact is around, and people are suffering right now because of their conception of the resolution.
Can I get the 10?
Yeah.
Just like toss it. Thanks. 4. Order is gonna be T and then what? Yeah.
No. Cool. To win the ballot, the affirmative must at least defend a hypothetical implementation of a plan. This is the baseline at the formal at the level of a form to preserve any semblance of a predictable topic. Both sides can be ready to debate framing issue. Not every word means their interpretation is arbitrary and allows any action by any group which expends the case to an impossible threshold with zero functional limits or coercion error. Exert two impacts limits. One, skills. Hunt's research over intricacies of a policy making is necessary to learn to engage different positions. Framing we can lose and you can vote on this because it's an impact turn to the court thesis of the 1AC, which is that policy making is bad. Sure, they'll win that their model has some clash, but absent predictable thesis around government action creates more advocates, but not better ones, which Hunt says is the unique problem. Plenty of people are against things like handguns, but are constantly outmaneuvered by groups like National Rifle Association and Republican advocacy groups because they're so much better at influencing the government and the GOP because they already know how it works, which is why it's important for young people to learn intricacies of policy making to actualize the 1AC's ontological movement in the real world. It's not that this debate changes my mind or your mind or anyone else in this room, but that their model allows us to actualize these things outside. Debate doesn't change what we think, which is why Trump wipe out win debate. It certainly changes how we think about things about these things. So clashing skills are intrinsically good at intrinsically good. They concede clashing skills. They concede 118. You can extend it. To fairness, it's intrinsically good. Every debater knows they're 1AC better than anything. But foregoing the topic in favor of anything, fairness is an impact, but the impact. It's proven that by every investment of the heck of debate on fairness turns are often burnout, which undermines discussions that they want to have. They are winning the uniqueness to fairness. Cross proves that under their model, everybody learns something. Everybody has to learn something, but they're the only ones under their model. That's learning something because it severs out a clash and allows for infinite affirms, which is simply impossible for the 1NC to simply impossible. Well, drop the debater. I guess quick argument my lines. First off, they're not actually I'll answer some of their arguments. I guess first off on the cards about you shouldn't allow them to read cards cut by debate. This because they're obviously one-sided because they're going to advocate. They're obviously going to advocate for what they believe in and what they write about. The Glass 12 evidence was written by somebody who does debate. It's literally it says in the qualification an assistant debate coach at Harvard, which means that he will obviously defend the fact that you should be able to read cards by debate. The example they gave, which is you get you're ignoring certain people, you ignore certain people. Well, it's inherently wrong because in the context of this debate, they're using other people's we're not because their example is inherently wrong because in this in the context of contextually it's not right, and because in the context of this debate they specifically talk about how exactly why cards why it's good, but they read the evidence they read on why we should allow debate we should allow cards cut by coaches cards written by coaches and other debaters is written by a debater, meaning that obviously he's going to defend the fact that you can read cards within around, meaning that you shouldn't give this to them. Also on I guess the entire I guess the result on that one. Yeah, on the I guess back on it. The affirmative has to, they conceded the fact that the affirmative has to do something. If they don't vote neg on presumption, we impact their if they this is what we heard. And if they pivot to word turning their framework, it just proves their politics are the definition of reactionary. Not only mean that the entirety of their politics and motives are reactionary, meaning that they're engaging in debate. They're engaging in debate. They concede the fact that desire to incorporate exclude discussions read on neg solves and topicality isn't. They're not winning the internal link to fairness, meaning that you shouldn't give this to them. I guess they concede the fact that we're still engaged. T comes first. They completely concede the fact that we're still engaged in a form of debate when it comes to policymakers. We're engaged. they concede the fact that we're still engaged in debate, meaning that in some form of debate, we're still ahead. They concede like the only portable skill out of round, i.e., they read like we can take it out, like we can read it. It brings more people to outside. It's like resolutional clash. F is best switch sides. They can read the app on. Like we physically cannot read the app on the net because of how we can't read the app on the net because that's simply how tab works. The heresy of tab. There's a reason why tab decides to choose why one person gets app, one person gets neg. It's because we should affirm we should affirm the resolution, or we should negate the resolution. Not the fact and whether or not it's up to the debaters whether or not they want to decide. Just because as one side says that they want to affirm the resolution, just because the affirmative says that they want to negate the resolution, doesn't mean that they get negate the resolution, because that creates an unfair balance, which links back to the fairness impact, because it's Tab brings it up. There's a reason why specifically that there's two sides to the debate, and you can't choose every time. Otherwise, i.e., we both want to negate, meaning that it's always going to go. You always vote app. You're going to always vote app, which is unfair to the neg, and because it's impossible for the neg to win. It's impossible for the neg to win, and because you're always going to vote app if the app always decides what side they want to pick. App always says what side it wants to pick.
Order is K C to T. Yeah.
Debate should be about the philosophical underpinnings of resolution, because ontology is the only thing that matters. Conceded throughout the entire round is the only type of education debate can generate. CX proof Edward loses infinite war by because he literally can't answer questions that policymakers should have taught him, like how the US states make policies. Only through examination of ontologies and how policymaking structures can prevent structural failures. For example, a government based on fascism will always make fascist decisions on how good it might look, but a government based on inclusion and freedom would make better ones. They have dropped that now. They've dropped the reason why other spaces can check policy education means there's no reason why debate about that within here is good. However, debate is a unique form because we can compare different methodologies that you can't get research from from elsewhere. They can't get research from Webster. We have not conceded that half coach have to do something because we have to do something. It's a short question of how we should view the resolution. Lizzie, if you should vote on the affirmative because we provide a better view of the resolution that solves the exclusionary impact that UNCLOS provided. UNCLOS's territorializing logic is exactly what drives an exploitation of the earth by extracting a bunch of minerals, by exploiting workers to extract these minerals for them, which is inherently bad for the earth. It drives some territorial logic and colonial logic because the capitalism always have to drive for more land to extract the resources from. The ontology of UNCLOS is itself bad as a reason to affirm and to embrace relationality, is to recognize that all the people and the lands and the countries and the world is interconnected, and there's no reason to exploit one another. That is a theoretical solvency towards our theoretical impacts on T. A standard interpretation of the affirmative can either negate the philosophical underpinnings of the resolution solves for two reasons. First, you can read their half on the negative. They've been mishandled this, which means that there's literally no abuse or engagement. They're just too lazy to research philosophical reason why their app is good, which they should have, because their app is undergirded in some kind of ideology that can actually weigh against us. There's no reason why they can still test the affirmative on that. They can test the affirmative on that level. That means that means we access their skills offense because we have research and skills, because we're talking about philosophical reasons why the resolution is good or bad, which inherently implies we need research all of these things, which in the end the two hours awards that is not particular why their research is good or why research is bad. However, they have conceded awards why philosophical education within the debate is good, and ontology is the only thing that matters in terms of policy making, which means that you should err on the side that has real education and has better education, which is the affirmative. Now we include the resolution. In the words counter-interpretation, which means that there's no fairness offense. One, philosophical limits are more limiting because there's less philosophies than policies. So it's a drop coming out of the 2 and R. Second, coming out of the 2 and R. Second, we don't have to change people's minds because everything shapes people's subjectivity. If there's only a risk that the affirmative with our education can be good for the world overall, they have conceded our uniqueness to fairness, which means that there's only a risk that we can solve for fairness and the unfairness towards philosophical base right now, which means that it's independent of impact because they concede that we now controls we now controls fairness. NAS, the indites, is wrong because they have dropped the warrants, dropped the oppression warrant. They're literally saying that we shouldn't listen to people who are oppressed let them talk about their struggles because they'll be biased. However, this oppression is itself bad, and we need to listen to the people and the cards who are talking about this oppression debate.
I can give you a pen.
Can I like keep it like forever now?
Yeah.
I like totally lost my pen, bro.
You get one, see which one works.